Hi everybody, hope you're well. This video is requested by Valkyrie. In this video I'm going to be talking about how realistic it is to collect agent points, passes and Equus. So I'm going to start off with talking about agent points, and this isn't really going to be a tutorial. I am going to make references to other videos that I have. So Wild Dog sent in a few tips about collecting agent points, so I'm going to go through those now. So one of the first ones was to create an agent point farm, and I think this is a really good thing to do because if you create an agent point farm, put horses in there that you specifically use for agent point hunting, then it's going to save you time, because every time you wake up a horse, it has the chance to give you one, so long as it doesn't have Morpheus arms. So that's worthwhile doing if you want to be able to agent point effectively. So the next one, you can ask friends to give you some, but I will give a bit of warning with this. If you send a message to someone asking them for something and they have on their page that they don't want asked, so for example, if I had something on my page saying don't ask me for agent points, and you message me and ask me for agent points, technically you've just sent unsolicited mail, so unwanted messages, and I could report that and you could lose karma. So if you're asking friends, make sure that you are pretty tight about it and there's not going to be an issue. So don't just send it to random people. I mean, if somebody has on their page, if you're looking at agent points, I'm happy to send you some on their page. You could definitely message them because they've said on their page they're happy about it, but there's a lot of people that say on their pages don't ask them for agent points, so be careful of that. You don't want to lose any karma. So the other one is, if you answer Archimedes' question correctly, then you would get an agent point. So if you are somebody who's on a server with Archimedes divines, that's something to use as well. So the other thing is, you can get agent points from diamonds and passes. So if you want to spend passes or diamonds, you can get agent points that way. I have a video about that which you can check out. So then you can sometimes be earned through promos like the lottery and different things. I mean, we saw in some of the test server ones, I got agent points as some of the gifts and things. So promos are a big one actually. I mean, I actually find at the minute, because I'm not playing really intensively, promos and a little bit of agent point hunting seem to keep me where I need to be in terms of my agent points. So the next one is, every time you use a piece of cloud, then you get 2 agent points. So obviously if you're somebody that scales a lot, or maybe just like using pieces of cloud on your horses, that's another way to get agent points from that. It's not exactly something you would, you wouldn't go and spend a pass just to use a piece of cloud to get 2 agent points, because you get more agent points with one pass buying directly rather than using a piece of cloud. But if you were clouding a horse for a skiller, it's a way to get some agent points. Then obviously you can get them in horse UFOs sometimes. If you see a agent point jumping around the screen, you can click that. These range between 1 and 6. You can't get any more than 6. I've never had more than 6 in a UFO. And then some players use APs as their customized UFOs. So if there's some VIPs out there or anybody else that has those sort of customized ones, you could take advantage of that. And obviously then there are some divines out there that increase the amount of agent points you can get, so check out the video that I have about that as well. So those are some of the things that you can do, and realistically I think if you spend the time to get some agent point hunters around, and you don't spend your agent points every time you get them, because I think the trap a lot of people fall into is, as soon as they get their agent points, they just spend them all really quickly and they don't think about what they're using them for. I think that's the biggest problem. So if you think about them, hoard them, and just like be really protective of them, and just be like, they're mine and I'm not spending them, and just sort of build them up. And once you start to build them up, then you get to a level where you'll have enough there that you sort of have a surplus. And I think that's what I mainly did, was I agent point hunted every day for months until I got up to a really ridiculous amount. And then after that I can kind of work through them, and usually like promos and things, like just keep them they go down a little bit and then come back up again, so I don't have to agent point as intensely. So it's kind of about having that bit of comfort zone with it. Obviously at the start it's going to take time, and as I said, a lot of people I think get carried away with things like this. You need to plan this, you need to work it out, and it does take time. It's not an overnight thing. There are some other ways to get agent points, and you can check out the video that I have on that, but I just wanted to mention Wild Dog's tips as well, so thank you Wild Dog for those. So the other thing I'm going to talk about now is the collection of Equus. So Equus is something that is quite easy to amass over time, but you have to be so pernickety about it. Kind of the same as the agent points. You have to hoard, you have to hold on to everything, and you have to really think to yourself, should I spend this? Should I really need to buy? Do I need this horse? I mean, sometimes, and I know plenty of us are guilty of it, you have managed to get a lot of Equus, and then you see this horse in sales and you're like, oh, I want that horse, and you just buy it. And then you're like, oh, I've just spent all my Equus. So it's really easy to do that, but what I'm going to say is really be really careful. So even in promos too, like if you saw some of the videos I did on the Howrse server, I went through 1.7 million. That is a lot of Equus on a promo, right? So it's one of those things you have to just like build it up slowly. And if you're on the UK server, Dozymare has a fantastic guide there. And I have a video about doing it as well, like how to increase your Equus. So if you want to read a written guide, go and have a look at her page. And I'm sure there's on some of the other servers, there's people who have some tips as well. So it really is about every single part of your game. You look for ways to save yourself money. So if you can find as many ways as possible to save yourself money, you eventually will probably save more than you spend. And that's what you want to be doing. So let's just go in for my Equus for a minute. So let's have a look, okay? If I look at my financial history, now this is a general, you can see a more thorough history if you click on the bottom button here. But you can see at the minute my expenses are higher than my total earnings, and that's because I'm buying a huge amount of horses, as you can see, on quite a regular basis. So at the moment I'm kind of spending more than I should be, and I am guilty of that right now. But if I wanted to switch that other way around, then I would have to make adjustments to the way I was playing my games in order to push that Equus up, which is what I used to do, but now I just don't care. That's the thing. You have to keep on top of it. That's the main thing. Like people who have millions and millions and millions did not do it overnight. They worked their butts off to get it. So once again, it's like the aging point thing. You have to build it up over time and you have to plan it out. So finally, passes. Passes are probably the hardest. And there are ways of getting free ones, and I will probably do a new video on that soon for this year, because some of the stuff in the older ones is outdated. But there are things out there you can do. If you can get yourself one pass when you first start off, whether that's your 50th day pass for your reserve, or whether you sell something and manage to get a pass with that, just hold on to that pass, right? And really think about what you're going to invest it in. The biggest thing with passes is that you have to reinvest passes in things that are going to make you passes. Don't invest your passes in things that aren't going to make you passes unless you have enough passes saved up to do that. I mean, perfect example is like last year, it probably was last year, I got up to 134 passes, and I really was just investing in things that would, pay out to me. And some of those things I've talked about in my passes video. But what happened then was that cards promo that we had for Tormenta, and every single one of those was gone in a blink of an eye. And I've struggled since, honestly, I have struggled since to even maintain enough passes a month for my VIP. So it's really about being really tough on yourself and just keep going and keep going on it. And you have to be so strict with yourself, and that's the truth of it. So to answer Valkyrie's question at the end of the day, is it realistic? It's realistic if you make it realistic. If you go around just throwing everything, not thinking about it, it's unrealistic, and you're gonna basically throw it all away. I mean, I have gone from one end of the scale to the other really quickly. Like overnight with that Tormenta, I'd suddenly wasted months and months worth of work, and in hindsight I should have just not bothered with her, but I had all the other legendaries and I kind of wanted to get her, so I kind of messed myself over in that respect. But Bucephalus was a very good investment in terms of everything else. But these are sort of the things that I would say. Just think about what you're investing in. Is it going to pay you back in the long run? And if it isn't, you say no. And it's not always easy to say no, but sometimes you do it. The odd time having a wee treat isn't that bad. Like sometimes if you see a really nice horse, you're like, I really do want that horse. But you have to like give yourself a second. Don't make impulse buys, because impulse buys are probably the biggest danger. So I'm going to leave that there, guys. I'm going to say thank you to Valkyrie for requesting the video, and also to Wild Dog. So I hope you had a lovely day.